So yeah, it is actually Tuesday, and I am actually posting. Shocking, I know. I finished work and did some ride time. I hung out at county and I went on one call. Um, so unfortunately, I things heated up real early in the morning and I was still asleep, so no one actually even came into the room where I was sleeping until almost noon. So I only ended up doing one fucking call. Um, but I was cool with that because I was tired. And it's not like I'm gonna have to do extra hours. It's just, whatever, shit happens. So anywho, I did have a really cool call last night. Um, I can't legally give you any like identifying details, but the guy, it was a guy and he was blah 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 years old, and yeah, got in a fight and got cut. Um, Not like cut like, ooh, I'm bleeding a little bit. Like we show up on scene, we were just told meet the police, and then they were like, oh, meet the police, two victims, and I'm like, that sounds like a fight. So we get there, and the cops are walking someone out to the truck, and it's night. It's like 8:30 or so. So it's dark out, and I'm like, a black guy, okay. Oh no, he's white and covered in blood. That changes my assessment of what's going on just a wee little bit, because he was cut right on the head, right here. Bigger one, like about a 1.5 inch cut right down to the bone, right on the front of his head. About a 3 inch cut, also probably down to the bone on the back of his head, and then from his left shoulder blade all the way down his fucking back, like at least a foot long, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch deep, flayed right open. It was that wide when we showed up. Um, and this dude, he was holding his t-shirt on his head, and his whole chest, his whole neck, like whole face, everything covered in blood. He had like clots hanging out of his beard and stuff. It was, and like he only had like a beard kind of like this. I mean, even shorter than mine. And just like the same like stubble on the side and stuff. He had like clots hanging off, out of his nose, and just, like this dude was fucked up. Um, and I was like, yeah, it's really sad. But I'm like, I see the guy and I'm like, oh, okay, oh, that's blood. Yay! I love blood. Blood is easy. Blood is so fun too, because you're like, it's like it's a mechanical thing. Like it's not a medical thing where it's like, okay, here is symptoms. What's wrong? If you don't have to be a house, you just be like a plumber. You're like, he's leaking. Boop, put your finger in it. Not leaking anymore. It is, I mean, not something I can fix in the field, though. A lot of medical things, I can fix it in the field. Like the patient I did as a student today, asthma attack, and she's, wheezing, and, you hear that when you listen because she can't get air out of her lungs because they're closing down. So, bam, throw some medicine, throw some albuterol in a mask, boom, on her face. She's fixed by the time I get to the hospital. Like, I can, definitive treatment. I can solve your problems. Um, I cannot solve a guy who's bleeding. That needs surgery, stitches, shit that I don't do. So, um, but it's fun to get him there. So, eat the lifesavers, not the wrapper. Take home message for today, kids. But yeah, this guy was fun. And I was very pleasantly surprised that he was not shouting or like really angry or trying to start shit with me, because he had been drinking some, but he was still pretty, together. And despite the fact that he was bleeding, the only thing that really showed me he wasn't 100% like with it is, I mean, this guy's back was flayed, and he was just like, I'm not gonna need stitches, am I? And I was like, yeah, funny thing you should say that. You're probably gonna need ballpark 100 or so. You got fucked up, sir. You're gonna need a lot of stitches. Not just a few, not some. You're gonna need a lot. You're gonna need probably more stitches than they have in the suture cart. You're gonna need, yeah. Yeah. So, and I turned over cared. Just me, nomadic. Just, I'm wearing my gray shirt, working as an intermediate, threw an IV in the guy, gave him some fluid. He pulls it out by accident. You know, he got the tubing hooked on the cot. Yeah, it was a fun call. And it looked like he butchered a pig in the back of the truck. There was, trauma dressings. So trauma dressings are like big sterile towels. They really are. They're folded in four. So you open the package, and the package is this big. And you open it, it goes boom, boom, and you have like this much worth of like huge pad of gauze to put on something. And I used 4 of them on the guy. Used 2 to mop him down, 1 on the back of his head, 1 on his back. He was holding pressure on the front of his face. When he pulled the IV out, I was holding his back and his arm, and because when the IV comes out, I put a huge fucking needle in the guy trying to get him some fluid, and I mean, when that comes out, you just have a vein pissing blood all over your arm. So that was another big bleed. So I was like, bam, okay, okay, and in we go. And they threw him down on the table and cleaned him off, and I found all his wounds, and I actually, when I followed up on him a couple hours later, the trauma doc was like, "Hey, good job." Like when I pulled those dressings off, he started pissing blood from every hole. So good job in controlling the bleeding. And I was like, "Hey, thank you." I aim to please. So that was fun. So yeah, good day. The reason I'm like bending over like this is I just took my boots off and my ankles itch because they haven't had air in about 30 hours. But, other than that, not a hell of a lot to report. I'm going to try my best to keep just talking about shit here every week, every time I feel like it. I'd like to do every Tuesday still because, I'm a creature of habit and I don't like to let things go. But, I would like to point out that our account has been cleared for uploads of 15 minutes or greater. We're not limited to 15 minutes. We're not limited to anything anymore. If I want to just wander, come on here, get hammered, and just start talking for an hour and then upload that, I theoretically could. Probably not going to do that, but who knows? It may happen. So, I believe that is all the news that is news. So ladies and gentlemen, it was fun saving lives today, and now I'm gonna take a nap, I think. Watch some Lie to Me, watch some House, get to catch up on my shows.